Missouri, I'll be presenting an original short sermon titled Small Things, Big Impact. The verses I will be using are Judges 6:27 and Judges 7:22. Listen to this. The angel of the Lord came and sat beneath an oak and declared, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Strange greeting, isn't it? And the crazy part is, this was not over a general on a battlefield. It was over a man in hiding. Gideon was hiding in a wine press. And at this time, Israel was under constant attack from the hands of Midian and the Amalekites. If they were to plant crops, their enemies would sweep in and wipe everything out. They were living in caves just to survive. But amidst all this fear and chaos, God stepped in. In this incredible story of Gideon in the book of Judges, it shows us these truths. Small obedience prepares us for big assignments, and when God moves, small things can have big impacts.
Yep.
Even though God called Gideon a mighty warrior, he didn't send him straight out to battle. First, Gideon had to learn to trust and obey. This leads to our first truth. Small obedience prepares us for big assignments. Let's pick it up in Judges 6, verse 25. God tells Gideon to tear down the altar to Baal and cut down the Asherah pole beside it. You see, these things represented worship to false gods. Then, in verse 26, God tells Gideon to build an altar to the Lord. Whether we realize it or not, many of us have built altars to a job, a relationship, social media, others' approval, and God is asking us to tear down those altars. Like Gideon, we need to tear down whatever we are worshiping other than the Lord and build a proper altar to Him in our hearts. We see Gideon's obedience in action at the beginning of verse 27, where it says, "So Gideon took 10 of his servants and did as the Lord told him." This brings us to the part of the story that Gideon is most known for, where God's power is revealed, and where 300 men defeated insurmountable odds. At the beginning of Judges 7, Gideon's men numbered 32,000, but God told Gideon that the army had to be reduced. You see, God told Gideon that the army had to be reduced because they would think they saved themselves by their own strength instead of by God's strength. The Lord reduced the army so no one could reduce the miracle.
Yep.
Remember our second truth, when God moves, small things have big impacts? The story takes another unexpected turn. In Judges 7:16, God doesn't equip his warriors with swords and shields. He equips them with a torch, a jar, and a trumpet. You would have assumed that they would take up weapons, but God chose something different than what the rest of the world would have chosen. You see, verse 22 says, "When the 300 trumpets sounded, the Lord caused men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their swords. The army fled." What seemed small by human standards became a huge victory in the hands of God. As we wrap this up, remember, God asked Gideon to take a step of obedience, tearing down the altars. Because small obedience prepares us for big assignments. And when the moment came, God took 300 men to defeat an entire army, proving that when He moves, small things have big impacts.
Yep.
And so if God is pointing something out in your life, maybe an altar you need to tear down, or something you need to obey, don't ignore it. God is still calling Gideons today. The question is, will you say yes? Thank you.